So we get into the second half of the first round. Justin Fields still on the board. John Gruden and the Las Vegas Raiders love their offensive weapons. He loves offensive weapons.
Yes, he does.
Their defense has been awful
for
many, many years. What would Justin Fields do in a John Gruden offense? Is that where you're going?
Is this what you're going to say with every pick now?
I don't know.
Justin Fields to this team.
You brought him up again, so it got me thinking about him again. But that will be the top. If he is still alive, the whole draft will be about Justin Fields.
Well, Gruden, it will be. You're right. That's all we're going to talk about. Gruden's so psycho, too. He'd be like, man, Justin Fields is on the board. Have you seen that guy with his shirt off? I should draft him. He will be like literally like, I can't believe it. But, the Raiders, here's defense. It's got to be defense. It's got to be. I know that their offensive line has been switched around. Listen, they didn't let all these guys on the offensive line go and just go, well, we'll figure it out in the draft and we'll try to. No, they're good on the offensive line already. They have guys coming up the ranks they like. They've signed a few guys. They re-signed their left tackle to a big deal. I don't think it's going to be O-line here. It's got to be D. It's got to be D. And to me, it's one position, and that's linebacker. And this is where I'm going, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Yeah, it's just, there's too many things. And originally when I first did the draft here, I had them trading up because, once Micah Parsons went off, I went like, ooh, the Raiders are going to be nervous because they're going to go, wait, this is the next guy that fits our linebacking scheme and the way we want to play. But I don't know if there's anybody in front of them that's really scary to take him off the board before them. So I left him at 17 here, taking Owusu-Koramoah. But he fits. This is Seattle's scheme. Seattle wants fast linebackers, right? They want this guy. Owusu-Koramoah, he could be Fred Warner or Darius Leonard or that kind of guy, right? I mean, I said he could be that guy or he could be, the damn Derwin James. I mean, it's really, and I don't know, people, I said that to a few people, and they're like, well, I want to know whether he can do one or the other. It doesn't matter to me there. They're both 6 feet off the ball, and it's like, go get the ball. And, yeah, they'll have a few different rules as far as what they're supposed to do in the pass game, but they have to have a difference-making linebacker on their team. Gus Bradley took over, right? He came from the Chargers. He's going to run the Seattle scheme. And they need speed at linebacker. I mean, their whole front seven, they need everything there. And maybe they would think about going pass rush here. But so maybe a Jalen Phillips is in play. But I think the one that makes the most sense to me is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
If that pick actually happens, that'll be one of the picks where we come back after the draft. You go, I love that pick. They got great value getting him that late in the first round.
I know. I wonder if he goes earlier at times, just because,
like
again, I know. He's talented. He really is, and he really fits that scheme.
Going to the Raiders, helping him out on defense. Back to Miami at 18. You had them taking Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner, at number 6 overall. Do you have him going defense at 18?
I'm going defense here, and this is where I'm going to go with Kwity Paye. I am going to go Kwity Paye here. Of course, it came down to, again, with them, is Jalen Phillips in this conversation? They certainly got a first-hand look at Jalen Phillips being from Miami, right? So that's where I did think about that. But again, there's maybe the risks there and everything like that. But, Miami's roster is pretty well orchestrated. It really is. And this is really about the only position you can look at to go, yeah, all right, they could use a real difference maker here to do something like that. The interior D-line set up. They got some good stand-up linebackers in the middle of the defense. They got Emmanuel Ogbah on one side. And now you get a guy like Kwity Paye who can be, legit. Hey, it's nickel. He can rush off the edge. But he's going to be able, again, to be that hybrid. He's going to do like what Matthew Judon's going to do for the Patriots up there. Just a little bit of everything, but a disruptor, and there's no physical weakness to this guy at all. He does everything at a high level. I don't think he's a really high-level special pass rusher, but he's a high-level edge rusher who's going to always dance around 8 and 10 sacks for his career. I don't think it's ever going to be 15 sacks or anything like that. He's not long enough to be that kind of guy for my money. But I think a really awesome player, disruptive, is his middle name. Kwity Paye at 18.
First player from the University of Michigan going off the board. I'm trying to look if there are any Big Ten players. Oh, yeah, Penn State.
Penn State, we got them, right? Let's see. We missing anybody else?
Is that it?
No, that
So
might
far,
be it right now. I think you're right.
Second Big Ten player.
We got, away.
Away, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got two Penn States. We got two Penn States.
Yes, correct. Okay, so that was 18.
Oh, maybe.
Patrick
Omameh. That's probably what I am thinking of. You might be exactly right.
So we're up to 19 now.
19.
In your mock draft. We're getting the names straight. And this would have been Washington's pick.
Yes.
Had they known they could just stay there and get Justin Fields, maybe they would have done that instead of trading up, as you predict, into the first round to get Trey Lance at number 8. That trade gives Carolina the number 19 pick, correct?
Number 19 pick.
Okay.
Carolina's got...
Went all defense last year.
All defense last year. Carolina, again, is another one of those teams where you look at it and you go, man, let me put a mark next to this team. Watch out for Carolina this next year. I would be shocked if they're not in the running for things come late December. I really would be, the way they're set up. First off, O-line, I know there's some need there. They have a franchise tackle in Taylor Moton. They drafted Greg Little just a few years back. I got to think they're going to get him to play left tackle this year. I don't know. I don't look at this as going, oh, they're going to go tackle here. To me, the biggest glaring weakness of the Carolina Panthers is corner. That is it. And I think this is where we see him come off the board. Caleb Farley. I think this is where it's just going to be the Panthers are going to, I would think are just going to look at this and go, wait, we need a corner. We're sitting here with a guy like this talented. It's risky with the medical stuff like we talked about. But
if he wasn't hurt, if he didn't have
If he wasn't hurt, like I've said, he is top 3, top 5 pick material. Like, to me, him between Okudah last year, they're not even on the same planet.
Yeah.
I wasn't an Okudah fan, but this is as special as I've seen come out since Jalen Ramsey. That's what I've said. He's that kind of guy. So I just don't think Carolina will be able to pass it up. And they do like length and things like that, and I think they're going to like this type of corner for their scheme and everything.
I hope he can stay healthy, and I hope he is healthy, as much as I've heard you talk about him. Caleb Farley, Virginia Tech. It'd be the second Virginia Tech player to go in the top 19. You got Darisaw going 13 to the Chargers.
Right.
Farley 19 to Carolina after trading back. So 20, you got the Bears.
The Bears.
You got Justin Fields still out there.
I know.
As the draft continues to go, you are skeptical whether they are going to have license to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
That wouldn't change if it was top 10 or 20, I would assume. So what do you think they do?
I don't think they're going to do it. I don't. So this is where I'm going to go with the offensive lineman. I think this is where you see Rashawn Slater, a guy that they're going to have great knowledge of, or, of course, being in Chicago and Northwestern and all that. But again, this is a team that needs legitimate offensive lineman help. And Slater, you draft him to be the tackle. I think he could be a better guard. Like I said, I'm not sold on the tackle aspect of him. But either way, you're getting a guy that is going to be able to play for you for a long time. And I think, of course, they are going to try him, at tackle, of course. But that's going to be the big thing. The Bears, to me, that is by far their biggest need on their football team. The O-line has been an issue the last few years. Interior-wise, I think they can, figure it out as far as what they want to do there. You got James Daniels, you got Cody Whitehair, and I'm missing, and they could have Jermaine Ifedi on the inside, and now you have a Leno and a Slater on the outside. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. So that's where that's why I'm going O-line for them.
Yeah. No matter who they pick,
yeah.
As a Detroit Lions fan,
yeah.
I hope it doesn't work out. I hope it doesn't work out.
I know.
That's the only team I'd ever say that against. And I don't really mean that, but I kind of do.
No, you do.
But they mean
you
that
say
against
it in
us
such a
too.
nice, charming way that it's not as mean. But
yes.
It's the only, even slight bit of hate I've ever heard come out of you is with the Bears. And I don't even know if you call it hate.
Yeah, it's probably unhealthy.
It's the nicest hate I've ever seen.
I should probably get it looked at.
Yeah, you should get it looked at.
So you got the Bears going Slater. They'd be happy with that.
I think so.
To 20.
I'll be interested to see how these O-linemen play out.
Yes.
Because again, you know how I like them, and I have a few friends in football who, of course, see it a little different ways too. I think everyone's got these guys ranked a little differently.
So then you got 21. You got the Colts. Got Carson Wentz over there now. You're going to protect him? You're going to give him a defense? What are you going to do?
Offensive line is definitely a thought, right? I mean, because
how quickly things change, right? It was the strongest unit, and it
I
still
know.
is.
It's still a good
talent.
unit, right?
But if you have one hole, it's what is the chain analogy? You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Right. Very well said. Very well.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. So no Anthony Costanza. Everybody thinks, it's got to be a tackle here. Maybe. Okay, maybe, but I don't think it's going to be the guy they're looking for. And still, let's not forget, the offensive line is still real good there. Even without the left tackle definitive answer there yet, it's still a really good unit. And like we've talked about too, it's a pretty deep class with O-linemen. Yeah, I know there's some that are like the elite, and we've kind of hit all of them, but there's still a lot of good to be filled in after that. I think here, they can't pass it up. I'm going with the other freak, the other top 10 pick that's not in, and that's Jalen Phillips. I just think, I know Chris Ballard has a history of, being really critical of anybody with medicals or things like that. But man, Jalen Phillips is a top 5 talent for my money, and he is clearly the best edge pass rusher in the draft. And I just think if he's sitting there on 21, and I know teams have dropped him already. I know that. I think there is a real possibility he's here on the board, and I just don't think Chris Ballard's going to be able to pass him up. I don't. Man, you put him in on that edge now with that defense, because that defense has got just about everything already. That's the only thing they're missing is a real, true, what are you going to do with this pass rusher guy? And that puts them over the hump and legitimately gives them a Super Bowl defense.
The team right after them could use some defensive help.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans at 22, maybe they'll be mad about that pick of Jalen Phillips right ahead of them.
Yeah, and I thought about that, that aspect, but, again, let's think about the offseason. They signed Bud Dupree, right?
Yeah.
So there's an edge guy. They signed Danico Autry, who plays defensive end / can go inside as a smaller defensive tackle. So I'm thinking, with those moves, they've taken themselves out of the edge guy, right, as far as that's concerned. Plus, I don't know if there's an edge guy that, fancies them right now. When I look at the Tennessee Titans, they've had some losses on the offensive line. And their team is predicated on their offensive line and running the football and doing those things. And that's where I'm going to go with Big Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. Road grader, mean, nasty, right tackle. And they have a need at right tackle. And to me, the guy, Tevin Jenkins, reminded me a lot of Jack Conklin, who they drafted in the top 10 just, 4 or 5 years ago now, who's now in the Cleveland Browns. But I think he kind of fits that mold and allows them, again, to just go oh, yeah, we're running the ball. So what, you know it? Great. We're going to block you, and you can't tackle this big sucker. I just think that he's too good of a player for them to pass up right here.
So offensive linemen going off the board here in 2 of the last 3 picks for you. We got back to the Jets at 23, who took Zach Wilson with the number 2 overall pick. If they were thinking about protecting him with an offensive lineman, maybe less talent off the board at this point.
I know.
What do they do?
Yeah, I mean, offensive lineman was the thought. They've addressed some of that stuff, though, in the offseason.
Of
course,
Becton last year.
Drafted him last year, right? Wide receiver, I thought about that a little. Do they want to just give him one more weapon?
Yeah.
But, they drafted Denzel Mims last year. They got Jamison Crowder, and they just signed Corey Davis. So I would be so it came down to me for, edge guy and corner, right? And I think this is a defensive staff that doesn't look at it I think, they know they play zone. I don't think they're going to go out on a limb and go, we need to have a top flight corner here. I don't. I mean, Robert Saleh, came from a defense where just 2 years ago they were the number 1 defense in football, and he didn't have a top flight man-to-man corner. I know Richard Sherman played well that year, but, again, he wasn't a man-to-man shutdown guy. I'm going to have them going with Joe Tryon from the University of Washington here. As a defensive end, wide 9, Yannick Ngakoue, D Ford type of edge guy. That's what he is. He's he's a true speed rusher or a stand-up linebacker for me. In fact, if anybody listened to my edge rankings, I didn't put him in my top 5 edge guys because I said he was a Vic Beasley, Bruce Irving type of football player. To where, it's a defensive end, but he's a stand-up linebacker too. Not sure what he is. But either way, there's a lack of legit edge pass rushers, especially speed ones. Tryon just has too many elite traits, I think, to be left off the board. And I think he's going to fit exactly what they want. I mean, Tryon, the athlete's the real deal. The pass rusher is the thing I didn't love. Like, lack of moves, wish I saw a little bit better bend from the guy. But the athlete is real. And I think he is too good of an athlete to where, he's going to get picked at some point this part of the round.
Immediately cut to Jets fan, being like, what? Who is it? I didn't even know.
He didn't play last year. I know.
He's looking on their draft board. Like, I don't even see him here.
Yeah. Well, they're just going to – this is one that, again, it's a scheme fit. And again, you just look at any of these teams, the Seattle scheme, they always have – this is going to be their, get wide, get upfield, be disruptive, cause havoc. Tryon can do that. He is an elite athlete, hovers around 260 pounds, and I think they're going to look at it and go, I think we could teach him some pass rush moves and he'll be just fine.
It is funny. I mean, this is the part of the first round where that does happen. If you remember years past, we're all a little fatigued. It's been longer than you always think. It takes forever for these picks to go all the way through. The first 10 or so are like, we all know these players, and wow, he went a little higher than we thought.
Yeah.
You get down to the end of the first round, there really are some wide disparities in how teams see some of these players, isn't it?
Definitely disparity. Also, teams are going to just go, wait, hey, we're getting desperate here. The guys that we have, in the area of elite edge rushers are dwindling away here. So, maybe, we didn't think we'd have to do this right now, but okay,
when do we pick again?
We got we got to do it now, right? I mean, yes. I mean, again, at the end of the first round, you see some busts too at times because you do just you draft a little bit on the elite aspects of a player, and what he might be able to be is exciting, even though there's these negative things that are, a little questionable too.
Then it brings up number 24.
I know.
The Pittsburgh Steelers with their pick in the first round.
And then listen, I thought about Justin Fields here. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I know. And this is real. Like,
he's dropping like a rock in the Chris Simms mock draft.
It is. I know. Sorry, Justin. I just look at, Fields. This is where I came to. I could certainly see Pittsburgh liking him, wanting him, everything like that. I just got into I don't know. It's Ben Roethlisberger. I think this is his last year. They're going to want to – I think they're looking at it like, hey, we're in a little window here. Let's try to make it work one more year for Big Ben and company and go all in on this style of football, which I think they're going to get – I think they're going to do like what we talked about. You're going to see them getting to run the ball. Let's protect it up. Big Ben, Tom Brady, Buccaneer style of football. I really think that's what you're going to try to see them do. And that's where I'm going to go offensive line here. I'm going to go Landon Dickerson, the center from Alabama. I mean, to me, this is the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. I mean, he is a Pro Bowl type center. I know he's got the torn ACL. From people I've talked to, there's not a lot of, people think he's going to be okay for the start of the season.
Yeah, he's doing cartwheels and
he's doing all that stuff.
Mac
right.
Jones.
So we'll see. He's a little bit of an injury risk that way, but man, as a pure player, he is phenomenal. And their lost one of the Pouncey twins, of course, to retirement.
Yeah.
To me, it's a real need and can get them back to a little bit more of a physical brand on football on the offensive side.
Take a pause. Let's recap 17 through 24. Looks like we got three offensive linemen, and then you got 4 defenders, 3 edge guys. You got a corner and a linebacker in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. From Notre Dame at 17 to the Raiders, which I like that pick. All good players. We'll see how many of those Chris gets right. I'm going to grade you on all these.
Please.
What if it's the first time ever that someone gets all 32? Wouldn't that be amazing?
I was dreaming of that when I was doing it. I was just dreaming of the accolades I would get.
I can't see how they won't pick this guy.
Simms is amazing. He's 20 for 20.
It would be the biggest thing in both of our lives if you were to get all 32 picks right.
Yes.
I hope it happens.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.